see it? Did you pick up on anything that you don't see initially?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's why it's hard. You talk after the game, and even my coach when I was a player, he would always say it's never as good as you think it is, and then the flip side, it's never as bad as you think it is, and that's true. It's true more often than not. So you always, it's hard to just kind of, you don't have a photographic memory. I think you get a feel for it just in general. And I got a little bit different perch, so it's a little easier to see. I think the sideline would be real hard to. I could see a little bit more up there and collect the information, a little bit more readily available to collect the information. But no, you watch the tape, you can really pick up stuff.
Did your point of view on the game change at all after you watched the film?
No, my point of view on the game we played.
Yeah, Northwestern.
No, I felt like I don't recall everything, but I can just tell you my point of view on the game. I can tell you that now that I had a chance to watch it. Similar, the guys are fit in the areas. There was a lot of friction. A couple of the runs that broke out of there were stoned at the point of attack, and some of the backside fold pursuit action was not great. The discipline there of when you're a 21-man rule, boot, cutback, reverse player, just exactly how you get that done. That's how that one run boiled out of there. Again, disappointing in the conversation of you have the call in the system to stop what's happening, but it creates strain and stress in another area. So that play should have never happened. That shot down the field, that was a bad play. Should have been easily fit, and but again, it's just you need a little bit more aptitude there, a little bit more depth of understanding, a little bit better clean eye progression, which just takes time. Like I pointed out, we have new players doing new things. Even some veteran players like Joshua doing a new job. He's been a corner for 3 or 4 years, and now he's trying to learn how to play safety. Banged up, chipped up, just trying to give it all out there for his brothers. And so there's just a lack of depth of understanding right now. He's going to be a darn good player in the future at that position. But that was another play. So, I mean, those are plays that I saw. And like I said about the game conduct, I felt the same way. I mean, after the game, as I said, and I think there was, I don't consume it, but I felt the reverb back from the hallway. You can't win a football game like that. You can't have penalties on defense. You can't have penalties in special teams. You can't turn the ball over 3 times. You can't win. You can't beat a good or great team like that. You just can't. You're not going to win the football game. And as I said, to have an expectation right now in that game against Northwestern, to think that team needed to be stoned, it's not reasonable or realistic. And the last drive's evidence of it. So, as I said, you mentioned the run. You asked about the run, and you're looking for that play, and then lo and behold, boom, Marcus picks the ball off and returns it for a touchdown for the go-ahead points. And you got the ball down there halfway through the fourth quarter, and you're going to go ahead by 2 scores. No, you're not. Okay. So now at that point that they take possession, so rather than going ahead by 2 scores, they take possession. At that point, they were 0 for 10 on 3rd down. At that point, they had 0% success on 3rd down, 0%. But then they had a 3rd down and 9, and by an inch and a half converted it on a brand new player who tries hard and we love, and he's going to be a darn good player here. And he played good in the game. Just on that one down, so they happened to be 1 of 11 on third down. And that one third down kept the drive alive, and they scored the tying points. I mean, it's tight. You think about this season, and 12 points separate 4 and 5 from 7 and 2. And not that 7 and 2 is acceptable, but 12 points total, not 12 points in a game, 12 points total. So you're looking for those points, and we are too. And like I said, the games, the way that they're conducted, the external stuff that surrounds the program, the gaps that are present for each particular person on defense, and I'm only talking about the defense. It's just, in that game, conducted that way, becomes very hard.
How do you feel like your defense has handled sudden change situations?
You know what? I thought that in that game was much better. We made an emphasis point of it. Obviously, it's been a focus. I don't say that in a disparaging way. We're one team. We're one heartbeat. We're one unified front going forward. What's that? No doubt. It's been that kind of year, and we're talking about that. Like I said, so getting here in February and collecting these guys, and so there's, and part of my problem is I talk and my answers are too long, right? So, and I can't even complain about them, you guys cropping an answer because they're too long, and I'm sorry. So pre-apologize. I already know that. I'm not good at it. So I'm not going to talk disparaging about the players. I love the players, so I'm just not going to do it. I'm never going to do it. And I'm not a talk about family business guy. And I want to do a third thing, and that's be honest. So when it's not going well, to do all three of those things becomes very hard, and the answer can become a little nonsensical as you try to make sure that you protect your beautiful players and you protect the integrity of the family business, because airing out your family laundry doesn't help anybody do anything. So I can understand, but I do want to. I'll give you one example, and I don't know. I'm just trying to be honest here. So. And sometimes you hear this story secondhand because I wasn't here. And that's part of talking about 2016. Like I mentioned, when I found this group, right? So my understanding is that this is just one thing, right? So I can say more than one thing. How many it's not important for this venue, but this is one thing. So mandated to the defensive staff, whether this is true or not, I have no idea. This is just what was told to me. Mandated to the defensive staff was a tackling fundamental teaching progression. That they were going to tackle that way, mandated from the administration. Which didn't sound like anybody really believed in. So the tackling degenerated. So when you think about it, you think about a player showing up here who's a really great tackler and then becomes a worse tackler. Like, that doesn't make any sense. So I had no idea till we went to our tackling drill on the first full padded practice of spring football and found that the players were spectacularly frustrated during the drill because they're willing, they're talented enough to tackle, they're tough enough to tackle, they're willing tacklers, they want to do well, but they don't fundamentally know anymore how to tackle at all. So we've been working hard on just that one thing. It's been present in every single day in every practice.
Was that a factor in overtime? I mean, when they ran 7 straight times.
Listen, I think the tackling is coming on. So we've worked hard at tackling, is my point. And you're going to work at tackling, but this has been an over-emphasis, one that I didn't, me personally, anticipate having to make at the level that we've had to make it. So now you see in the game, like I said after the game, I thought the tackling was pretty good. And in fact, you see some more knockback tackling happening. It's not just, you see Marcus's tackle was a beautiful tackle. Alex Davis had a couple of nice tackles. You see Chris Webber's had a couple of really nice knockback tackles. You saw in 2 games ago, for sure, the last few games, even you've seen Lamar more physically tackle on the perimeter. So that's just one example of some conversation about where we're at, where we're trying to go, and the amount of time it takes. What we have is we have a situation as a let's just call it a Husker family, right? So, and that's all of us. I'm talking about all of our internal people and our external people, and that is that playing good to great defense is not something that you work on during the week and then you do it in the game. It's a year long, and it's really years long. You know, it's collecting personnel that intangibly suit the university and the team, perfect alignment that way, that physically suit the traits and the jobs that you're going to ask them to do. And then there's this developmental process. So there's this process of physical development. There's this process of intellectual development. There's this process of their spirit development. There's this process of their skill development. And we are in a skill development phase right now. And we really, there are other collections of people working on their other development to some extent, but it's very hard to do it all right now during the season. And defending, as I pointed out, is that it's not fun to say. It doesn't make it any less real. It is a process, and it is a year-long process. And as I said, it is a year's process to get the defense built back to being great. We saw moments of greatness. We've seen moments of greatness, and we've seen moments of poor play. And even with that, you go in and you're thinking, okay, we want the game to end and just try to figure out a way defensively this year that they can have one less point than we have. And that's been very hard to do in the games, the way that they've gone. Very, very hard to do.
Since the administration didn't change when you got here, it's changed since, but it wasn't when you here.
It has definitely changed since.
Tell them to buzz off then, and let them do it, and let you do it your way.
There was no way we could do that progression. Absolutely not. No way. No way. No.
So what?
We taught tackling. I mean, you got to tackle safely. We have a beautiful, safe, wonderful tackling teaching progression.
As you assess the situation now, how long do you think you would need to get the defense to where you want it?
That's a good question. Definitely a full cycle. They need to. Yeah, I mean they need a full cycle of strength and conditioning, nutritional conditioning, intellectual conditioning, more skill development. I think the furthest they've come is in the skill development. I really do. Tackling, block destruction, pursuit, and then you see a clip and the back reverses field, a great back reverses field, and those backside 2 players are out of their fit, So now we show that clip and we teach that clip and we work it and it gets better.
So the common thing is there's always a lot of progress from year 1 to year 2. So you feel like that would.
I absolutely, like I said, we are going to create a great defense here. We are going to create one of the best defenses, and there is no doubt about that. And it's not we're going to continue to add personnel, but the personnel that's on the defensive unit right now that's coming back will be just fine to accomplish that. They're bright-eyed, they're bushy-tailed, they're smart, they're tough. They want to do this. They just, in some instances, don't know how. And in other instances, there are other gaps, and those gaps need to be solved. And it looks like when you think about common denominators, so again, this might get cryptic. I apologize. So with all the changes that have happened, let's say over the last dozen years, there is one consistent thing, and that's the team. But all these other pieces have changed. So what are the common denominators that have created this team that looks the same? So obviously, the leadership has done a beautiful job of trying to begin the process of those corrections, and they all relate to defending. It manifests itself on defense most visually.
How much of a challenge has it been as a staff? It's guys that were kind of put together. You guys not all of you had a lot of time together. How big of a factor has that been?
It's been a big factor. I think the death of Bobby Elliott was very disruptive, and then the reassembling of that piece. It's definitely no different than we're talking about some of the players and their aptitude to do the jobs. We have the same circumstance positionally. Strong coaches, strong teachers, great guys, highly competitive and smart. We just need time together, and the vision becomes more and more clear every week that passes. So.
Goes back to the theme of a big jump from year 1 to year 2 in your system.
Yeah, listen, there's no doubt. As I said, there's no doubt what we're going to become. It's proven. We've done it before. It is the course of things. What everyone's expectations are about what it should look like, I respect, and I understand the sensitivity of the moment. And as I mentioned, seniors, it's magnified times 100, and so I understand the now piece. It's just not real.
Quick follow-up. When you're referring to the tackling, I take it that you're saying that the switch from the rugby-style tackling is what you're referring to, correct?
I really wasn't here, so I don't know what was taught.
That's what you had to break the habit of?
I'm not sure even what it was supposed to look like.
What's the difference? Is
I
it night and day between what they were doing and what you're trying to do?
because I'm not sure they were pulling off even what they were. I just don't know what. I just know when I went to that drill, to say alarming would be an understatement, and I'm not. I mean, it was even. I could feel it on the players. Like my heart went out to them. Like they were so incredibly frustrated in that moment in the spring, and since then, they've come light years in being and becoming functional tacklers. So we just keep working on these areas. I'm not going to say what all the areas are because, like I said, I'm not a air out the family business. But I can say this: I know all the areas defensively. I can see all the gaps that need to be closed and eliminated. Excited to go to work doing that for the players, to create the kind of defense for them and all the Cornhuskers out there, so that it looks the way it should look, and that you can go to the game and stone the opponent, and if it's hold them to a field goal and you win 3-0, then that's how you win the game. I love that, and we'll definitely be able to go and get there. There's no doubt.
You talk to, obviously you don't want to air it to us. You talk to the new athletic director about this stuff?
I have not had an opportunity to talk to Mr. Moose, but I would say that from everything that I've seen, it looks to me like they hired a man that understands deeply not only the athletic department, but we're talking specifically about football, sees it as a player, understands it as a player and a coach, understands it as a player, coach, and administrator, and can see the common denominators that have been present over the last dozen years or however long. I'm not a historian of of Nebraska football, but I do know that there has been some changes. I know all the guys now. You know, like I know Bo. I consider him a friend, and I think he's an awesome coach. And now I got a chance to be with Coach Riley, and he's a great coach. He's got more championship trophies than he has shelf to put his stuff on, and a great guy. And you also couldn't have two different people. Like, they're completely different, beautiful in their own way, and both awesome coaches. And I know them both now intimately, and awesome coaches, completely different. So, is the product similar? I don't know. You would know better than I. If it is, does that make any sense? And I think that the new athletic director will be able to see the common denominators and begin the process of becoming a championship football program. And athletic department, I'm not sure what all the other records are, but I don't think this is unique to football, unless you correct me if I'm wrong, other than...
So you're just getting started, it sounds like. It's kind of what you're trying to do.
I feel like that. You know, I feel like that. I definitely feel like that, and I'm excited to do this work. I don't want to be anywhere else. I love this place. I love the players. I love the people. I love the university. I love how important football is to everyone. I love that, even though sometimes it feels a little attacking. I wouldn't have it any other way, personally. And like I said, I never want to be anywhere else doing anything other than trying to win championships here and play great defense.
Good. Coach, having a guy like Damian Jackson join this team, from a mentality standpoint, just his background, kind of what has he brought to defense?
You know, the guys just have gravitated towards him. There's instant respect for the work done and his service, and that's across the board. And he conducts himself that way. He goes about his business. He's the epitome of defending. So whether he participates in the games or not, you can look to him and say, these are the habits. This is the mindset. These are the habits. So he can lead that way in his own way. And so an example, a quiet example, a leadership example, someone that just adds respect. And he's got he's a good guy. He's a sense of humor, and he's a great teammate. Well, what we do a little exercise on defense when we're not in season. We call it the drivers, and it's what drives each particular person on our unit, and he shared some of that information with the unit when he was up during his session. Thank you.